to know that when you take it, are you?
I'm for it.
Okay, so that when you take the offering, just come forward so I can, 'cause I can't see you back there.
Yep.
I also can't see the clock. That's why I've got that little clock.
Yep. No problem. Not a problem. And I am so grateful for you.
Thank you.
That's just been a wonderful job. So.
Yeah, I'm always aware of every mistake I make, like clearing lights.
You're the only one who hears them. The rest of us are just going, wow, she's good. Um, it's-
So I'm not going to speak while I'm here.
Press the button on top. Good morning. Yes, sorry, slight confusion in up here, and it's all my fault. I want to welcome to All Souls. Yes, we're a community of people who want to do good in the world. And no matter who you are, you're welcome here. Whatever your beliefs are, or what you don't believe, you're welcome here. No matter the color of your skin, your hair, or even your toenails, you're welcome here. Yes, no matter where you were born, you are welcome here. Yes, whatever your traditions, whatever your questions, you are welcome here. Whoever you love, you are welcome here. Yes, for announcements, I have just a few short ones. Please note it on your bulletin what's going up the next Sunday. Is there any other announcements that anyone has? Oh, all right.
Good morning, everyone. There is next Friday, if I'm correct, a Women's Circle happening here at All Souls from 7 to 9 a.m. It's mostly for women or persons identifying themselves as women. It's a good place to be when you feel like you need the support of other women and you can just show up and be yourself. So next Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. here in All Souls. And if it's not Friday, it's on the full moon. So I think it's Friday, but I will give the confirmation if you need more information. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other announcements? Oh, Pat has one.
just a word about the book club. Three of us met again this past Thursday evening, and in a 3-0 decision decided that we would start meeting in the afternoons if it was only going to be the three of us. So, but we really would like to invite others to join us. I don't remember the address right offhand, but I know it's the apartment building Jenny lives in, and another one of our members, Robert Verchota, and it's been the three of us that have been together the last couple of times and have had some good discussions. So it's the third Thursday afternoon at 2 o'clock.
You didn't know the address.
Sorry?
I know the address is 900 East 14th Street, is Vito West Apartments.
Okay, 900 East 14th Street.
Isn't this in the community room, right?
Community room, right. And there is a entrance door, you get into it, but then there's a locked door. And Robert Verchotis is 212. You dial that number, and it rings to his phone, and he will let you in at that point. And so I'm inviting, next month's book is Lessons in Chemistry by, I think the author's last name was Garmus. It's a wonderful read. So we invite others, please join us the third Thursday of every month at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Thank you. It's a wonderful
And this Thursday is the outreach team meeting where we discuss all the, come up with all the good ideas that the church has for reaching out into the community. So any of you that have good ideas and would like to bring them to the attention of what we can do. We do things for the banquet, we do the Rosebud thing, we do several things, but we'd like to do more. We participate in Pride event and usually the Festival of Cultures. But the more we can reach out into the community and make ourselves known, the better we feel about ourselves and the better the community gets to know us. So if you've got any ideas, Thursday night at 6:30 here, please come and bring your ideas. Thank you.
Any other announcements? And today we are having a special prelude with Joy and Paul. Who are going to sing for us. So I'm looking forward to hearing that.
And neither have I the wings to fly.
Build me a boat they can carry two, and both shall roll, my true love and I. A ship there is, and she sails the seas. She's laden deep, as deep can be, but not so deep as the love I'm in, and I know not if I sink or swim. I lean my back against a young oak,
Thinking he were a trusty tree, but then he bent
did my love prove false to me? Oh, love is handsome and love is fine, bright as a jewel when first it's new. But love grows old and waxes cold and fades away like the morning dew, and fades away like the morning dew.
Thank you, that was beautiful. Yes, now we're going to have our chalice lighting. Yeah, that's... May be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other. Yes. And now we're going to have our first song. It's page 6 in the large hymnal. Just as long as we have our breath. Because for timing issues, we're only going to do the first verse. So enjoy it while you can, because life is short. Now we're going to have our first reading, which is page 562. Yes. Yes. And apparently, you guys get to listen to me because there's no italicized parts. Love cannot remain by itself. It has no meaning. Love has to be put into action, and that action is service. Whatever form we are, able or disabled, rich or poor, it is not how much we do, but how much love we put into the doing. A lifelong sharing of love with others. And that was by Mother Teresa. Yes. Now we're going to have our story for all ages, so any kids or kids at heart, please come on up. Come on! I don't bite. I've had all my shots. Yep. Yes. Now come. I'll have you. But that's okay. You don't have to. Okay. Today we are reading a story called Thank You, World. Yes. Yes. You know what? let's go down here. Yes. Yes. Thank you, son, for waking up in the morning and coloring the skies. Thank you, sky, for shining blue that calls me to touch you, swinging high. Thank you, swing. You shoot me like a rocket, past birds and grass and trees. Thank you, grass, for softening my footsteps. I'm dancing with the breeze. You guys like to dance? No one likes to dance. Okay. Thank you, breeze, for lifting up my kite's wings, past treetops tall and proud. So you don't like to fly kites? Oh, cool.
I had a giant one.
Yes, I always got a kite for Easter, and yeah, so I always flew kites. Thank you, trees. Your branches are on my playhouse. I'm climbing to the clouds. Yes. Thank you, clouds, for painting cotton in the pictures and sending cool, sweet rain. Thank you, rain, for watering my flowers and washing in my window pane. Thank you, windows. You're welcome in the moonlight and yawns, starry skies. Thank you, stars, for sparkling so bright. You shine like mommy's eyes. Yes, if you want to make your mom feel really good, tell her, Mom, your eyes sparkle like stars. You'll get a cookie, I bet it. At least a hug. Thank you, Mom, for tucking in my tiptoes and kissing me goodnight. Thank you, nighttime. Your soft gray shadows will touch my dreams tonight. So what is something you're thankful for? Oh, come on.
I got one.
Okay, what?
My mother.
Awesome answer.
He just wants a cookie.
You just want to, yeah. That's, what do you think?
Being here right now.
I'm great and thankful that you're here too. Anyone else come out? Yes. Okay, I have a little challenge for you guys.
I'm also thankful for my bike.
Well, that's a good thing to be thankful for. Yes, I want you guys every day to think of something you're thankful for. Maybe right before bed, you can tell your mom, dad, say, today I was thankful for this.
Hey, Mama.
You know what?
You go
When you do that every day, you find lots of things to be thankful for and can really make life better. And I am very thankful that you guys all came up and you all listened to me and none of you heckled me. You've been and awesome. And now we're going to sing you guys out so you guys can go downstairs and have fun down there.
It's Dad's one.
Now comes one of our favorite times here at All Souls. A time for us to share joys and concerns with the community. We take a rock and we drop it into the water as we're telling it. And the symbolism is as the ripples go through the water, we can see it. Like I said, it's one of our favorite times. So try to be brief so everyone has time to share, and we have time for our speakers afterwards as well. Yes, I'm grateful this week. I got to go to the talk from a 101-year-old Holocaust survivor. Yes, it was fascinating, enlightening, and I walked out saying I will never complain about anything in my life again. I'm sure I lied, but I said that. And if you guys have joys and concerns, can you come up here and kind of stand in a line? That way we're not waiting. So, anyone else? Thank you. Can you please use the mic down?
First, I want to thank Paul and Joy for that beautiful music. They sing so wonderful together, and I love you both. And I have it's a sad note. It was this weekend, 7 years ago, that I lost my 43-year-old son by a massive heart attack. And it doesn't ever get easier. I always wonder when it'll get easy, but it just doesn't.
This past week, I had made 2 trips to Palestine, and these were guided tours to the West Bank and Israel. And I was given opportunity to hear both sides of this issue, and I hope we can do this as a group of people who care about people. You know, whatever label they maybe have had from their birth or because of their religion or where they were raised. I'm happy to be with a group of people who share sorrow when we see hurt for whomever it may be. So I just want to put a stone in and say that as the biggest, is there anything bigger in here? That there's a big ache in our world's heart for people who are suffering right now, and I know you know it, and I feel it. And so this is for somehow a way to get through this with less destruction, with less death, with less terror, with less pain. We're people, and that's my heart's desire, and so may it be.
I have a joy to share. This coming Wednesday, the whole family is flying to the Netherlands to meet RJ's family on his mother's side. She was born in the Netherlands, and all her family is there. We have 4 daughters, and they've never met that part of the family or never went there yet. So we are very excited to be with them and let them know that part of their identity that they didn't get to meet yet. And I'm not feeling very nervous about that trip. It's not Christmas, or there are not expectations other than just getting to know each other and spending time together. So really exciting for that time.
I've got a joy. I'm a six-time great aunt to a new niece, and her name is Clara May Hafke, and she was born October 10th at 11:59 a.m. So there she is. Welcome to the world, Clara May.
All right. We're now going to have a little bit of silent reflection, and for those joys and concerns that were not spoken, and for the ones that are spoken. So please think about each other. Now we're going to have our second reading, which is page 127. Can I see another woe? We will do all 3 verses this time. Yes, and please stand as able.
How many verses?
3. Thank you. I couldn't help but think of what's going on in the Middle East as I was singing that song. Yes, for our second reading today, we are going to do 521. Yes, and you guys get to participate this time, so please read the tally size as I read this standard. May I be no one's enemy, and may be a friend of that which is external and abides.
May I wish for every person's happiness and envy none.
May I never rejoice in all of the ill fortune of one who has wronged me.
May I, to the extent of my power, give needful help to all who are in want.
May I never fail a friend.
May I respect myself.
May I always keep tame that which rages within me.
May I accustom myself to be gentle and never be angry with others because of circumstances.
May I know good people and follow in their footsteps. There we go. There you go.
Can you hear me now? Yes. All right. I'm not selling you Verizon phones. Okay, let's go back. Was 1966. Early in the morning, we're walking out of our house, my parents and I. Getting out and walking through the bushes. The village was quiet. There was no sound. There were cattle ranches around, which cows were moving all the time. But that particular morning, there was nothing. It's as though the cows were working with us, not to make any noises, so we are not found out. So going through these bushes full of mildew, we didn't use the path because we were afraid of meeting with anybody who may recognize us, especially my dad, and report him. Because in that area, everybody knew who he was, who we were. He was the only teacher in that area. So we walked through the bushes for hours. To an 8-year-old, it seemed like it was eternity. The sun finally set in the middle, which meant it was lunchtime. We took a break and sat in one of the old cemetery to have a piece of cake made of millet and a drink of water. And after that, we proceeded with our walk through the bushes until late at night. And we showed up at a village which was dark, and one of the villagers the owner of that house was one of my dad's former student. He was married, he had his own family. He took us in, no questions asked. They gave us a place to sleep, but before that, they murdered 3 chickens for us to eat. Ugh. And so they fed us, and the next day we took off towards the border of Malawi and Zambia and Mozambique. Once we got to the border, questions were asked of why we were leaving. And before we got to the border, the women and the men were divided. At that time, we were traveling with other teachers who were also leaving Mozambique. This was during the colonial era, and there were people who weren't happy for inequality of education, resources, distribution, and everything. So teachers were not getting any raise, however long they worked. So the women and the children were asked to go first, and the men were left behind. And I have to check my time. So once we go to the border, Mom was the first one to be interviewed. This immigration officer asked my mom, "So why are you coming to Malawi?" And she was told what to say, to go shopping, and in fact the people on the border of Malawi and Mozambique spoke a similar dialect. Not so much, but it was, we could make it. My poor mom just did not know what to say. She couldn't lie. And she almost got us sent back to Mozambique. But at that time, which is, I should have brought my friend, a friend of mine from, I don't know, Aberdeen, Major Barnes, what is that? Some insect, I can't even remember. Gosh, I'm old. So this immigration officer, when he was intent on trying to, get us back, to just, wave us back, this insect landed on his lapel with his white, nicely ironed shirt. Ugh, this green stuff, grasshopper, that's what it is, yeah. You knew what I was talking about. It's green and big, woo! And so as an 8-year-old, I was the second born. My brother was older, was not too, he was clueless about everything, just like boys at that age, at 10 years old. He was really clueless, I'm not joking. So when I saw that insect, I tagged on my mom's skirt and kind of went like this. She didn't get me because she was so scared of trying to find what to tell. And so she saw the grasshopper and told the officer, now she knew how to speak the language. You have something on your lapel. Yay! The officer was so disgusted and just brushed this thing off. And grasshoppers smell, don't they? Ew. And so after that, he was so embarrassed, he waved us in. We got in. So the men were waiting somewhere in hiding, and after they saw us in, we walked further, away from the eyesight of the immigration officer. They came and they told the story. It didn't take that long. They were, no problem. But I don't know, it was maybe the man versus women thing and no camaraderie, but the men were not given a hard time. And the reason why there were so many questions, why people are leaving Mozambique for Malawi, in the 60s, the colonial era, the end of colonial era was almost over, and Mozambique was under the Portuguese colonialism. And so people were really fleeing to go and form the liberation movement, which came back and tried to liberate Mozambique. So Malawi was warned by Portugal that if they continued to do that, they were going to be attacked, just like any threat anyway. And so President Kamuzu Banda in the 60s, who was known to go to South Africa and Johannesburg in those days, or Pretoria, to have a meal and come back to Malawi. So he was an easy sell. So it was hard for anybody to leave the country based on those reasons. So we walked in Malawi for a while, and then we eventually caught a train and ended up in the capital city of Malawi, and there was a transitional place, and after a few months we were cleared to go to Tanzania, where we were supposed to be in a refugee camp, and those refugee camps were divided by gender, age, and gender and age. So older men were supposed to, they were housed in the same refugee camp with women and children. And then young men and women were sent to the military camp to get trained and fight the Portuguese. And so my mom was 9 months pregnant at that time. She spoke no Swahili, no German, no English. So if you know, Tanzania was had hosted the Germans for a while after the Second World War. So they spoke mostly, and I think Peter knows that. There are a lot of German words in the buildings and everything. So I guess my second language, living in Mozambique was Portuguese, Malawi, English, in Tanzania, German, and Swahili. Oh, I liked that. I enjoyed it. I really didn't mind that we were leaving my home country. I thought it was wonderful if we kept running away like that, so I can have so many friends and learn so many languages. Well, the life in a refugee camp was not that rosy. The people were supposed to head the liberation movements were only full of corruption under themselves. They had no intention of having Mozambique liberated. So after 3 years, we left, and we ended up in Kenya, and in Kenya we asked for asylum. And if you know about what is happening on the border, asking for asylum is not easy, although it's the same as same category as asking for refugee status, because you have to leave your country of origin to go to another country and ask for refuge. And it took my dad 15 days to be accepted, or to have our application accepted. And we celebrated, because at that time we were living with my uncle and his new wife and a child in one room. And my family had 7 children and 2 parents. Whew, that was a lot. But my uncle had a heart of gold. And that man, I miss him. He's no longer with us. It was just amazing. So after 15 days, we got our own place. That meant we were able to get some support from a refugee from UNHCR, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. And by the way, on Tuesday, it's United Nations Day, October 24th. So we can celebrate it in our own way, and maybe think about what is happening in Palestine and Israel. 1948, the State of Israel was founded, 1948, with the blessing of United Nations, because the Israelites had no place to go, especially after the Second World War. And so we arrived in Kenya. The schools were good. We spoke English. We lived in nice flats, and it was good. And we had to go to this rigorous former British schools. Peter knows that. There's no joke. uniforms, you had to be clean, but the life was really good compared to what we was lacking in refugee camp. And after Mozambique became independent in 1975, the new government, the Marxist government by Samora Machel, had asked all countries to stop financing former refugees, especially who came from Tanzania. They need to just starve us so that we can go back and then get killed because of differences of political affiliation, which some people did go back. One is a well-known priest. This priest was my brother's godfather, the baptism. He was murdered, and up to now we don't know where he was buried. So life became really tough. No income. That meant we didn't have money to pay for rent, to buy food, pay for school fees and everything. It was just miserable. So my dad, I didn't tell you, was a teacher and a principal back in Mozambique when we got to, and in Kenya, he couldn't get that position. He didn't speak English, and also he was not Kenyan. Those jobs were also only set aside for Kenyan citizens, not refugees. And so after 18 years of living that miserable life, I decided, and there's a reason I'm going to use the I, and I don't like that because I intentionally not want to mention the other part. That part, I just want to use I, and I think you can make your own conclusion. I decided to just leave Kenya and go somewhere else where I can find a job. Before that, I had finished primary school, secondary school, and I went to two colleges, one to type, study shorthand, and business English. Of course, there were no jobs. And the second one was to go to a beauty school. I studied hair and how to walk, so I can do it. Still, I didn't get a job with Estee Lauder and all that because I'm sure, I guess. So I decided to go to Sudan and settled through Uganda, which was during a civil war in Uganda in the 80s. You go there at your own risks because the bullets were just flying. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's not the Hillary Clinton joke about going to former Yugoslavia getting, snipers. No, the real bullets. So you have to know how to keep yourself safe. So after Uganda, I ended up in Sudan and South Sudan, and in that time, in 1983, 3 oil staff were killed. These were Americans. So they had to shut the company, and of course, all foreigners were asked to come back. And then the Civil War sort of started in 1983. I was there that time, and my plan was to settle in Khartoum, and I was politely asked not to go there or stay in Sudan, to go back the way I came. But the idea of going back to Kenya empty-handed, that's just a defeat. I'm not going to go there. So I had to decide between Chad or Zaire, now Democratic Republic of Congo, and talk to some UN staff, and then so I decided DRC or Zaire was the place to go, and I wanted to speak French. So I ended up in Zaire and lived there for 5 months. It was a good place. I had a nice place where we were hired by Doctors Without Borders, and those guys do amazing work. If you guys get any request for donation for them, they do good work. And they are doing a good work right now in Palestine and Israel. They those guys just put their lives in line. I have so much admiration for them. And after 5 months in DRC, I missed my family. And also had just a terrible experience. I had one of my tooth was just got infected. It was bad. I needed to get out, but I was in the middle of the bush. This place is in most where the Rwandese refugees escaped to. There was a hospital, but no dentist. The dentist had to come from Kinshasa, which was 1,000 miles, to where I had to come, and that was by road. And my tooth needed to get out, like yesterday. So I suffered. I asked anybody who had a rock, just throw it to my cheek, just get this thing out. So they knew how much pain I was in, so some medical doctor who was not a dentist decided to, help me out and took it, without anesthesia and everything, but I didn't care, really. So it came out and I bled like a dog or whatever, no, not my dog. So after a few months I healed and I decided to go back to Kenya. And I was ready to do that. Once I got to Kenya in 1988, I applied for resettlement to come to the United States. I was accepted. I applied in 1987. And 88, just 20 hours short of our visas expiring. And that's when we were told that we needed to be at the airport. My good Lord. So with my shoes full of mud, and it's like living in Alabama, I showed up at the airport, got on Clara, and I landed in Munich. And then from Munich, with the help of International Organization of Migration, I landed in New York. And once we got to New York, we found out that my health papers had expired. So quarantined. So when you hear the word quarantine, I experienced that. For hours, this woman just pushed me there, and my young daughter, who was 5, Joanna, for hours, and no one told us anything. And finally, someone told us that we needed to go out of the airport and get a medical checkup. And so we ended up living at a hotel somewhere in LaGuardia for 3 days, got all the immunizations, everything. So had they found any trace of HIV or AIDS or polio, I would not be here. So that I passed and then continued my journey to San Diego. So I lived in San Diego for one year. And once I got there, when I came to America, really, my goal was not to be received with a bowl full of gold. No, I wanted to work. I knew that was not going to happen. I didn't have this mindset like everybody else that says, oh, you're in America, you have money everywhere, you can pretty much pick it up from the streets. That's what they think. No, I didn't. I was smart enough. I was educated to know about the economy of the United States. It goes up and down. They have inflation just like any other place. And so after 1 year in San Diego, I decided to move to the great land of South Dakota. So I've been here since 1989. Well, in San Diego, I did work at a convalescent center. I loved working with, serving people. It was just wonderful. I was hoping to go into nursing, but I gave up because I don't like blood. The sight of blood just got me to change my mind. So when I came to South Dakota, I continued in a nursing home, just to a place where it got me started, financially, and enrolled in social work at Augustana. And after 3 years, when I was on my way from DC after lobbying on behalf of Bread for the World to allow single moms to finish their college degree. I was one of them. I was a single mom, and to have to be allowed to work at least 20 hours a week. And so after lobbying, I thought, I think social work is not the right thing for me. I should go and study political science. So I changed my major and went to USF, or now University of Sioux Falls, and so I managed to get my degree in political science and eventually social work. And the political science, I went as far as Geneva and stayed at the UN compound for 2 weeks and got lectures from all ambassadors, name it. And one of them was a Brazilian ambassador who made fun of my Portuguese because I couldn't speak it. And that's the guy that was, he was one of those killed at the Iraqi embassy a few years ago, and the U.S. embassy in Iraq. So that's sad. And then I met Peter Bergen, you know, the reporter, right? He's another one. He was funny. So I met everybody. I didn't expect it. I did not know it was a big deal. I knew how they introduced the resolutions, how they passed. So I felt like I was working for UN. So there was my experience of international relations too. So I earned my degree on that. So I came back to South Korea. This was in 1996. And I got a job at housing to start with the single moms initiative to have their child care there while they went to school, and also fathers, not just moms. Later on it was changed, and finished my degree, and I worked for the government, Minnehaha County, in human resources for a few years, and I loved my work, and the job in the school district opened. It was the first one as a coordinator for refugee and immigrant parents. No one knew what that entailed. Now, the pay was, how much more time do I have? Okay, all right. I'm not even reading this. I told John I always kill myself trying to type, and then I end up not reading. But I like the guide. So at Minnehaha County, the 4 years the job in a school district opened, I found out because I was one of the advisory board at the refugee center, and this gentleman from the school district was looking for someone with experience in refugee to start this program. And so they all looked at the table and said, "You." And I said, "No, am I retired?" Which was true. My husband then was very generous to me. "You don't need to. You're not proving anything to anybody. Just relax, for God's sake." I said, "No, I wanted to work. This is my wish. I never not want to work and serve people." And my thing was, I had sworn not to work in refugee work and get paid for it. I felt like I was robbing. I wanted to do my volunteer work and work with that community as a way to give back, not to get myself a car or so. That's not something I wanted. So I hesitated accepting that job, and the pay was really good in paper. It said this coordinator, your yearly pay was $40,000. So that's not what appealed to me. So once I started, well, I got the job, I knew that, like from there. They interviewed me, but it was all, they didn't even know the right questions. But I didn't have any guide. There was nothing to start with. So I started from scratch. And so I found out that my pay, instead of that $40,000, it was $18,000 a year. For 2 years I worked and I didn't tell my husband my right pay. I mean, it went direct to our account. I didn't mind. He just saw there was a check that came from the school. That's about it. I had no idea. But after 2 years, and I looked, I thought, whoa, 40,000, 18,000. So where's the rest of the money? I didn't tell John. I was so ashamed. And I mean, to start a program in a school district like this in Sioux Falls, it was work. It was a 7-day job, and I sacrificed my family so I can get this started. Starting the interpreting services, parent-teacher conferences, or parent meetings, because the involvement, the grant specifically said it had to have a strong parental involvement. I didn't mind that. I was giving back to my parents who did not understand the language where we lived. It's like, wonderful. This is what I would have wanted for my parents. As an 8-year-old, now I'm an 8-year-old. So I continued to be robbed, and then one time I asked my boss, and I said, I think the work I do, I was ashamed to even ask for a raise, even to ask him, and does not equate with, before I even finished, he said, oh, so the pay is not the same? I said, yeah. So he said, stand right there. Are you going to do any home visits? I said, no. So he called the big shots at the IPC, the assistant superintendent then, Dave, he's no longer there. It's like they were waiting at the phone for me to even come up with that. So they talked to each other, and I was there, he had me listening, and Al said, Dave, do you have a moment? I have Clara Hart here. No, I wasn't married yet. Clara, of course. And she says she's not paid the same as the workload. And they said, oh, is she going to be there? Tell her not to go to any home visits. We'll be there in half hour. And they showed up with a brand new contract with a $4,000 pay raise. Did I have to do that? So my pay ended up not 40,000, but at least 30,000. So after that, I worked. I did the best I could, getting all the programs started in Sioux Falls School District. I will say that, and so now I'm proud that we have the immersion programs in elementary, in middle school, high school. I'm the one that started that, helped start those programs. I will start using my I, because I'm very shy about saying it, but in this context, I will do that. The school district, I'm so happy they are thriving, the parents are being served and respected, the children are getting the service that they deserve, and they end up excelling. I'm so proud of it. Yeah, they fired me in 2015. In fact, because they were okay, ready. Everything. That is how it is when you show so much passion for something you like, and you can do it without a pay. I think some people take that for granted and try to poo-poo you later on. And I knew they started canceling me after 5 years before I left. And my husband was suffering, he was near death, and I never missed work, not even one day, until they fired me. Oh, I fired them, because the day that they were gonna fire me, I had already removed all my boxes and my items from 4 of my offices at Whittier, Patrick Henry, Longfellow, now it's this new school, Susan B. Anthony, and Garfield. I had to start emptying and asked the janitors to pile my car. So when I showed up for the meeting, where they thought they were firing me, I had the key and the laptop and everything. I didn't have anything else. I had my coat, and then there was blah, 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 blah. All these principals were accusing me of being so independent. Whoa! I decided the word independent was a dirty word, because I didn't have to run to them because they did not know. If I asked them, you say, "Oh, Clara, we don't know." So why am I wasting my? I did what I knew was right, and serving these parents, and it made them look good. So before they even went further, I took that key, threw it on the table, their phone and their laptop. She said, "Oh, really? What about your stuff?" I said, "It's all cleaned. My offices are cleaned." So I left. So I didn't miss anything. All my benefits were intact, so they didn't fire me. I got I had the last laugh in a good way. Before I buried my husband, because it happened almost the same time, I wrote them a letter. And I said, "I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to serve the people like me." And that was an honorable service, because that's what I wanted to do since I was a 6-year-old, which is true. That was my dream. So thank you. And again, continue to serve our communities the best way you can. Goodbye. That's hours before my husband was buried. I thought that was the right way to get it. So what I'm doing now is Twitter. I'm married to Twitter. That's my new boyfriend. And so about this Hamas and Israel, I live it, I breathe it. It's painful. And I'm one of those people, Twitter fact checkers. I don't know, they chose me. So before we have any misinformation going around, I'm one of those that catch them, plus other people that we have to get the information, corroborated with the real one. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm here. I face my challenges thinking my problem is not worse than the other. If someone asks me, "Oh, have you ever been discriminated against?" I said, "Discriminated against what?" "Because you're black." I said, "What's wrong with being black?" If you think you're going to look at me thinking, "Oh, she's black," then you have a problem. I'm not going to allow you to make me feel bad. You have a problem. You deal with it. So that's how I deal with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. That was very interesting. Yes.
Interesting. It was a good one.
It was good as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. We are going to do a quick offering here because we need money to keep everything going. Half of today's offering is going to Horseman and School. It's
And then give it to him.
Thank you. Is there a final song? I can skip it. Skip the final song. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Clara. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, it's, we're going to skip our final song because we're running late, but the showers are extinguished and the light goes out in the world. And finally, for a postlude, Joanne and Paul are going to share some more beautiful music with us. Oh, and while they're getting ready, immediately after the service, we will meet downstairs for coffee and cookies, and then we will come back up here at about 11:25 for a circle discussion. Thank you.
O Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Away, you rolling river. O Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Away, I'm bound away. Across the wide Missouri. 'Tis 7 long years since last I saw you. Away, rolling river. 'Tis 7 long years since last I saw you. Away, I'm bound away, cross the wide Missouri.
Yes, and like I said, coffee and cookies downstairs, and meet back up here about 11:25 for the
think we did it, but
Yeah,
that you two should do both those pieces.
yeah,
Just gorgeous.
right.
You
Well,
just do such a good job.
these two, the versions we did in concert were the best we've done. So it worked out very well. But there's a couple of other pieces that we can do. Be nice to find a piece with a harmony, because just singing in unison is okay, but harmony is better.
But on both of these pieces, you interchange back
Yeah.
and forth with any other
Right.
and the one, it works.
Yeah, it was very nice. One thing I keep thinking about is Stephen Foster songs, because those are very nice songs as well. So we'll think about it. Yeah.